Hey everyone, Theo here, and it is Bookmas day 12. And today, first of all, yay, we're at the midway point, so only 12 days left until Christmas. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually also secretly really looking forward to the end of the 24 days of Christmas book tag and the end of the Bookmas 2018, because I've been filming and editing so many videos lately that it's just been a bit crazy, especially since I came off of like a schedule of one video a week, so I was really not used to this tight schedule. But in any case, it's been working so far, so maybe I should like go to the 2 videos a week frequently after I finish Bookmas. Now in any case, the prompt for today is 2018 debut authors. Now I'm really not one who's like up to date with recent releases, so I also initially thought that I hadn't read any debut novel by an author, because I've only read like I think 3 books or something like that came out in 2018, but it turned out that one of them is actually a debut novel. And so I went through that list and kind of saw like, okay, which are the ones that are on my radar, which are the ones that I would actually like to get to, and these ones I will just briefly introduce you. I don't necessarily know too much about the story, because I usually don't go into a story knowing too much about it, but I will give you like a brief, whatever I know about it, I'll let you know. So the first one is a very famous book on BookTube this year, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Now I actually have this one on my Kindle at the moment, because with my cell phone provider package I was given a gift for New Year, like for the end of the year, and so that gift was like 5 ebooks or audiobooks that I could download. They were however in the Dutch language, and so Children of Blood and Bone is one of them. I usually prefer not to read in the English I usually prefer not to read like in the Dutch language, except if it's like originally in Dutch, just because translations in the Dutch language are often more in like the Dutch from the Netherlands than in the Dutch that's from my region. So I feel like it's kind of weird for me to read it in that type of Dutch. But in any case, I will probably just read it like that, just because it's a free ebook, and if the translation irritates me too much, then I will go for the English version after all. But so this has been on my radar almost all year, because it's a very beautiful book cover, and people have been saying wonderful things about it, but we will just have to see whether I get to them in 2019 or not, because the more I get into plans for 2019, the more I get to feel like, oh my god, I'm just putting so much stuff in there, but so we'll see. The second one is also a book that's actually been on my TBR the majority of 2018, and that is The Tattooist of, how do you say that in English? Auschwitz? I'll just say it like that. So The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I don't know much about it, except clearly it's going to be about a tattoo artist in Auschwitz. Like, I don't necessarily like reading a lot of World War based novels. However, every single time I do read one of these, I'm very much blown away by them mostly, and I find them very moving or very interesting. So I do definitely want to give this book a go. However, it's also something that I won't easily pick up, because I'm never really in the mood to go into that deep, dark place in history. But so I hope to still be getting to this book. Probably not in 2019, but maybe someday. Then the third book that has been on my radar a lot this year, and that I definitely also want to get to in 2019, the sequel is also coming out, is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which is a Chinese-based fantasy about, well, I don't know too much about it, except it seems like a sort of like wizarding school setup, not necessarily in the traditional sense of it, because it's like in the Chinese tradition. So it sounds very intriguing. I've studied Chinese for a year, and so I have very big interest in Chinese culture, especially in the traditional Chinese culture, and so I'll be very much looking forward to this element getting immersed into a fantasy story. I've also been hearing wonderful things about it, so people who have read it, whose opinions I very much respect, have absolutely loved it. So I really, really want to be able to get to it in 2019. I am planning to put more fantasy in 2019, but I feel like I've been saying about every single fantasy that's on my radar that I'll get to it in 2019, and there's probably not time for that, but I hope to be able to get to a couple of them, and it would be great if I were to be able to get to the Poppy War. The next book that has been on my radar, it will probably not be for 2019, but who knows, maybe I'll get around to it, or otherwise it'll be something that I might eventually get to, or that will just have to fall off of the radar at some point because I have too many books out there. And that is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Penn. Now, this book didn't really pop up to me until like the Goodreads Choice Awards, when it was mentioned there for the debut novels, and then it turned up in one of Hialey's videos as well, and so I read into the book a bit more, and it sounds just absolutely lovely. So the idea behind this book is you have a protagonist whose mother has just died, and the protagonist, I'm not entirely sure whether it's a good boy or a girl, believes that his or her mother has transformed into a bird, and he or she goes off to Taiwan to kind of uncover the family history and learn more about his or her mother. It sounds very wonderful, and once again it is Chinese based. I mean, Chinese culture will play a big part in this. It is of course Taiwan and not China, but they have a very close cultural link at least. Yeah, I'm very interested in this one, but I just don't know whether it will make it because I'm already putting quite a bit of books on the 2019 CBR. I definitely didn't make it to my 2018 CBR, so yeah, I won't make too many promises. It's on my radar, I hope I'll get to it eventually. And then the final one that is on the list for debuts for 2018 that I didn't already read is The Mermaid and Mrs Hancock by Imogen Hermes Goer. Now, I had seen this book around. I think it came out pretty much early in 2018 because I feel like it's been buzzed about for a while already now, and it has a very beautiful cover. So basically Mr. Hancock is the owner of a ship, and his ship gets sold by one of his captains in exchange for what appears to be a mermaid. And then due to kind of the rumors spreading and things like that, he and his wife become like part of the high society, and it's about how the impact of fame and ambition on his and her life. That's what I think it's about in any case. Yeah, I've heard a lot of positive things about it. It looks absolutely gorgeous now that I know more about the story. I also want to get to it, but just like some of these others, I don't think it's a priority for me in 2019. I'm really putting my priority more towards the fantasy side of things. So if I were to get to it in 2019, perfect, but most likely I won't be able to put it in there, and then maybe after a while it'll just get debunked because I have too much in there. But I really hope to at some point be able to get to it because it sounds wonderful. And then the final one that I'm putting on there, I actually didn't find through Goodreads. I just found when I was going through my list of what I'd read this year, and then going in and researching one of these because I was pretty sure that it was at least a new release, and I'd never heard of this author, and then when I looked up the author, it was indeed her debut novel. Now, she was a screenwriter or playwright before, so she had done some writing before, but this is her first novel, so I'm still including it in my debut author list, and this is America for Beginners by Leah Frankie. I listened to this on the audiobook, which I absolutely liked. However, I cannot fully judge this because it includes like Bengali accents, and I would need somebody to tell me whether this is an accurate representation of the accent or not, because I once listened to an audiobook in which a Chinese accent was used, and I just found that audiobook to be so offensive in its characterization of the Chinese accents. So if anybody else has listened to the audiobook for America for Beginners and you have more of an experience with Bengali accents, definitely let me know if you find that this audiobook was not well executed. For me, knowing nothing about the accuracy of this accent or anything like that, it was very entertaining because it didn't distract me from the story in any case, where I felt that the Chinese accent was just distracting me the entire time. But so it enriched kind of the foreignness of the character in this American setting. So America for Beginners is about a widow, so she's just recently been widowed, but prior to her husband's death, he had told her that her son had committed suicide or that he had died. Actually now no longer remember, so her son had died in any case, and when her husband comes to die, she's quite uncertain whether she should have actually believed him when he told her that their son had died, because they were not on the best of terms since her son had come out to them, and she's kind of unsure whether maybe he just meant he's dead to me and he should be dead to you as well. So she sets out to the US to try and find her son, and now she's taking like a circuitous route about it because she wants to mentally prepare herself for possibly receiving some bad news, and she is accompanied on her trip by a young tour guide, also from, I think he's from Bangladeshi origin, and then a chaperone from American origin, and it's basically just a story of these characters who are like somewhat lost in their life, finding themselves through this trip, and it's very nice. It was a very nice, warming and charming novel, and so yeah, I would definitely recommend it. But so yeah, if you're looking for something nice, easy, charming, low-key to put in between certain difficult books, for example, I definitely think that America for Beginners is a great option for that. I feel it's as being like an in-between book, you know, a book to kind of reset your mind to be able to digest something bigger again. But in any case, I really enjoyed America for Beginners, and if Leah Frankie comes out with another book, I will definitely check that out. And so for the other 5, I think it were, books that I mentioned, as I kind of clarified already, I think I will definitely try to prioritize the fantasy books that were on there, but I will most likely not have the time to put any of the other 3 books on my TBR for next year. Well, I say on my TBR for next year. My TBR for the next year is made, but my TBR just consists of a certain number of books that I want to prioritize. But each month I will be making a TBR, and definitely more than the books that I've put on my TBR will on my 2019 TBR will go on there. But so yeah, I don't know whether I'll have the space to fit it in there at some point, because those the books that I put on my monthly TBR are mostly like either one from the big TBR, and then the rest will just be like mood reads, and I don't know whether I'll be in the mood for one of these or not. That's a long way around of me saying I make no promises. But so yeah, these are the books that were on my radar by debut authors for the year of 2018. I hope to be getting a bit more debut author reads in next year, because I have been putting more attention to new releases now that I've started a BookTube channel, so maybe next year I will get around to more than I did this year. But so in any case, see you tomorrow. I think for tomorrow, yeah, I'm kind of obviously staring at my laptop now, but okay. So for tomorrow, so tomorrow we'll be talking about the authors that were new to me in 2018. So see you then, bye!